Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, I am oh so excited to talk to you tonight. I want to give you guys my thoughts, do my monologue, the first little bit of this, answer some questions in the chat, and then we will move on to the calling questions. For those of you guys that are new to the channel, you get 3 minutes on the clock. After 3 minutes,
That's it! You're out of here!
that's right, you get the chicken. So make sure you're concise and know what you want to ask and what you want to talk about. I don't want any dead air. Too many people fired up over yesterday's game to let dead air sitting on the airwaves over here. So, boys and girls, the New York Jets lose 20-23 to the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Zach Wilson outduels the MVP caliber quarterback in what was the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career that a quarterback led in completions. Was it completions, touchdowns, completion percentage, and less interceptions? And I think it was yards too. Was it yards? I don't know. It was like 5 different stats. And Patrick Mahomes, through college and the pros, no quarterback has ever done that. Kind of nice. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I want to talk about the lack of flags being thrown. I want to talk about the excessive amount of flags being thrown, possibly, depending on how you're feeling on this particular topic. I do have a poll question in the chat. What are you more upset about, the holding penalty on Sauce or the no holding on the Jermaine Johnson play? So we'll take a look at that a little bit later, but if you guys want to tune into that and give your thoughts. Marvin Guns comes in with a $5 super chat. He says they need to utilize Izzy. Yeah, I'm kind of done with this whole Dalvin Cook experiment. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was very underwhelming. And I do have a little slide ticking away over there that shows you the stats of Dalvin Cook on the field, or the Jets offense when Dalvin Cook's on the field versus the stats when Dalvin Cook is not on the field. And it is a drastic difference. And I think it's something that we need to consider looking into to figure out if he's really worth having on the field. Yesterday, the Chiefs dominated the rushing game. Pacheco had like 159 yards. Jets just cracked the 100-yard mark in the rushing front. Passing-wise, Zach Wilson had himself a really nice day. What was it, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns? He did have the critical fumble there at the end. But overall, very much enjoyed that game in what I thought was not going to be a close game. I'll be honest, going into this game, I had us penciled in for a loss. The locker room was split. Everything was going to go sideways. Trevor Siemian's going to come in at halftime, even though he couldn't do that because he was on the practice squad. Everyone was kind of thinking this was going to be Zach's last game as a New York Jets starter. And boy, did he perform when the pressure was at its utmost highest. I mean, talk about all the fans, all the media outlets, our own best quarterback in Joe Namath ripping on this kid consistently, over the last, really like 2 years. But it came to a head after that Patriots loss this past week. And it felt like the Jets offense and Hackett and Zach were just like, screw it. Let's just let Zach cook. Let's see what happens if we just let this kid throw it all over the yard. Let's see what happens if he utilizes his leg. Hey, you know what? Screw it. Let's put Hardman in. Let's go put Jeremy Ruckert in. Let's go put, who else was in there? Hardman, Ruckert. I'm missing someone. Whatever it was. We got the young guns on the field. It's nice to see some movement. Tittman, in his 85 pass sets, has given up 1 pressure through 2 games. The young guns are looking good. Young guns are looking good. Very much happy with the way that game ultimately ended up because it gives me a little more hope for Zach Wilson. I'll be honest, we're looking at the rest of this schedule, and you're saying, you know what? Aside from the Eagles, I think everyone is beatable, especially with this defense. You're looking at the final games of your schedule, really after the Eagles game. You're looking at the Bills, and you're looking at the Dolphins, and of course the Patriots the final week of the season. Until we overcome that, hurdle, it's still going to be a hurdle for the New York Jets. So aside from the division stuff, Jets are sitting in a not so bad place. But it all comes down to this week in Denver. You have to be able to duplicate that kind of performance if you're Zach Wilson. You saw what happened Justin Fields had 4 touchdowns on Denver this past week. They wound up losing, but 70 points the week before from Tua and the Dolphins. The Jets can move the ball on this Denver team. And this Jet team is going to be far more motivated than the Denver team should probably be. I would think, at least. They finally got their win, so it's not like they're chomping at the bit. They threw our coach under the water, or threw our coach under the bridge, under the truck, whatever you want to throw him under. Not saying that what his comments, were wrong or anything, but it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out upcoming this week. Overall, I know there's a lot of frustration with the penalties, and we'll get into the Sauce holding penalty. We'll get into the Jermaine Johnson no holding penalty. And then I just want to talk about the narrative around the team overall, because it felt like leading up to it, like it was all pile on Zach the entirety of the week. And then even after the game, Rodney Harrison, former New England Patriot, with a zinger of a fucking interview at the end there, trying to throw Zach Wilson under the bus as best as he can to Chris Jones doing the post-game interview. And Chris Jones, to his credit, gave Zach the props that Zach earned for yesterday's game. Ultimately, Zach is the reason that the Jets did not win, but it's not because he didn't put them in a position to win in other points in the game. Like, yes, he had the fumble that gave away the possession, and then all of a sudden it's an 8-minute drive and the clock's run out. I understand that. But you look at the game overall. C.J. Mosley dropped an interception. Zach missed Garrett Wilson on a wide open touchdown. Conklin drops, albeit a tough catch, but it hits him square in the hands, drops a touchdown. You wind up not getting the Michael Carter interception from Patrick Mahomes. Little gift at the end there. There were opportunities to win this game. Jets missed a field goal. There were opportunities to win this game outside of the final drive with the penalties that everyone is all worked up about. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Jets lost that game because of penalties, because they didn't. That's not true. Jets lost that game because they made more mistakes against a team that you cannot make mistakes against. And I understand there's no moral victories, but when I have to sit here and say we've got, 13 games left in the season, and prior to this game, I'm dreading the fact that I'm going to have to watch one of Trevor Siemian or Zach Wilson play the rest of the season. Now, just 24 hours removed from the game I watched, I'm excited to watch Zach Wilson again. This is the kid I signed up for at number 2 overall. 100%. Zach balled his ass off. I thought there was some great plays from the defense. I thought there were some great plays, by some of the wide receivers. I mean, Ruckert had a great catch. Conklin had a great catch. Back shoulder throws were incredible from Zach. It was a complete game with the exception of that fumble. You clean that up, and all of a sudden, you're looking at the rest of the schedule. It's not so bad. It isn't terrible. But I do have to vent a little bit. How much bullshit did you have coming across your TV screen every time they talked about Taylor Swift? Every time they talk about Jason Kelce? Every commercial was with Taylor Swift. And the NFL is just piling on. We got to ride this golden goose as long as they're together. Let's key in on that demographic right now. They're selling Swiftie Kansas City jerseys. It says number 67, Swiftie. And then after the game, you have the banner on the Twitter page of the NFL's Twitter, Taylor Swift. Instagram, 2-0 as Swifties. How is that a neutral or reasonable take? Like, anyone that was watching that game last night, now I'll go on my little soapbox about the penalties or lack thereof. It felt very much like the Jets needed to play absolutely perfect because of how the refs were calling that game. DJ Reed could have teed off on Patrick Mahomes. He ran right past him. Mahomes still had the ball. Reed was deathly afraid of getting a penalty at that point in time. He missed that tackle in the backfield on the sideline on purpose because he was trying to avoid a penalty. Good on Reed. I mean, it sucks because that's where the game is kind of taking you. and how the game's being called. It's absolutely ridiculous. Jets were the better team last night, and we just made more mistakes than we were able to overcome. By and large, very happy with the overwhelming story, I guess, or the overwhelming game. Dude, I thought we were going to go in there and just get our doors kicked in. I really did. And for Zach to fight the way he did and the rest of the team to fight the way they did meant a whole lot to this locker room. And I think, obviously, having Aaron Rodgers back gave it a little more of a calming presence. Hackett calling the plays that he called. I thought the offense looked a lot more dynamic with Zach. And I'm excited to see what they dial up against Denver. Can you keep this kind of momentum going? Because it seems like Hackett, at least for one game, has figured out what Zach feels comfortable doing. Can you duplicate it? J-Boy comes in and says, last season, our offensive coordinator was a laughingstock. If he fixed Zach, he can say, who's laughing now? Kansas City was the game. Zach opened his eyes. Now go into Denver and let the kid get his confidence at 150%. Go Jets, week 9, baby. Dude, I very much want to see Zach go into Denver and sling it all over the field. We were supposed to see the Aaron Rodgers revenge game. That's what I wanted to see in Denver, where he was going to put a stamp on Sean Payton because of his comments towards Nathaniel Hackett. Well, if Zach can do it, and we have our backup quarterback doing it, not Aaron Rodgers, going to feel really good. Going to feel really good about it. Very much excited for what this week has to offer. Hamsicle says, Jermaine quit on the play to protest. He needs to finish the play and make the ref call the penalty. Also, Dalvin Cook sucks. Dalvin Cook has not played well. Jermaine Johnson alluded to giving up on the play, kind of. It was an interview that I do have queued up here. I don't know how much I'd say gave up on it, but he definitely tried to influence the call by showing like, hey, look, I'm clearly like being held right here. This is absolutely ridiculous. So he was no longer going 110% trying to break out of that hold. But I'm not so sure it would have mattered given the hold itself. So I'm not going to lay into Jermaine too much for that. Let's see. Jacob says, penalties won't go our way all year. It's because we don't have that star quarterback. If Zach proves that he can make money for the NFL, which, by the way, the highest viewed game since the Super Bowl of last year. If the Jets can perform like that and Zach Wilson can perform like that, then you'll start getting some calls. We haven't been able to get that. Cuca Lake says, I feel hopeful again for this team. Win next week. Another tough game against Philly. They are due for a loss. Season shifts to more positive. Could you imagine if the Jets have this type of performance against the Chiefs, come out, thump Denver, and then find a way to win against Philly and you go into the bye week 3-3? Is there going to be a scarier team to face than the New York Jets with a little bit of confidence? Rich N says, you are what your record says you are. Jets are 1-2 right now. 1-3. Math is hard. Jets are 1-3 right now. Cuca Lake says, anyone else pop a chubby whenever Ruckert does something? Yeah, and Zach looks really good when Ruckert's on the field. Nania had a good stat that I have posted, scrolling over there as well. Zach has like 130% quarterback rating when Ruckert's on the field. I believe he played 42% of the snaps is what I saw. Sears says, I like Salah, but this is a results-oriented business. Well-spoken, respectable, passionate, but his record as a head coach might not be enough. I think you have to look at what he was given as far as quarterback play. Because any time without Zach Wilson at the helm, we're throwing for 300 yards. So I don't know how much of it is on Robert Saleh as much as it is on the quarterback position. And I think we're going to find out a little bit more over the course of this, rest of this season. Apparently, Woody Johnson did not give the "you're all safe" message after Aaron Rodgers went down for an injury. Twisted says, Zach deserved every word said about him. What he doesn't deserve is the praise he is getting for one game. Give me 3 games like that and I will ride the train. Until then, I expect old Zach to return. That's fine to expect that. But I do think it's fair to acknowledge a good performance when you see it from a young quarterback who doesn't have many of them, if not any that looked as impressive as that, especially on a national stage. Aside from week 1, the Jets have been embarrassed in prime time, and right now Zach is 2 for 2 on the Jets actually showing up and playing hard in prime time. So I do want to see more of it. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch, but man, I'm happy with where we went last night. Dakota says the NFL is so shameful, it is a sin. Those penalties were rough. They were rough. I'll get into them in just a little bit before we go to the calls. Sears pointing out, Chiefs are 2-0 as Swifties was blatantly obvious it was rigged. Felt like it. Absolutely felt like it. Cuke Lake says, Michael Carter drop was a killer. It really was. The Jets were going to go into field goal range. They were going to get a first down. I don't know how much time was left on the clock when he dropped that pass, but I would have thought you'd at least get another playoff, which was the one we got to Garrett Wilson for like 9 yards. So there was a little bit more time. I want to say there was like probably 20 or 30 seconds left at that point. Disinfo says Mahomes stunk up the joint. Running game bailed him out. Yeah, the Jets wanted to stop Mahomes. And in doing so, they did not have Al Woods out there, which would have given us another beefier guy on the defensive line. And I think they wanted to have more speed with Bryce Hall in the secondary because of the passing offense that we were going up against. Savage says the league and fans saw the rigging. Sucks that people don't know about 130-23. Google that and see the lawsuit. WWE equals the NFL 100%. It makes me sick. I mean, there is something to be said for like the Patriots winning the Super Bowl after 9/11 and for the Saints winning the Super Bowl after Katrina. Like, it does definitely not pass the sniff test. But at the same time, I have a hard time saying the NFL is rigged because of all the gambling money that is coming in. And if the NFL gets any kind of whiff, or if any gambling company gets any kind of whiff that the NFL is rigging things, I think you're going to have a lot more issues on your hands, unless it's in favor of the gambling companies, of course. Then maybe you got something to say there, but I don't think it's rigged. I think it's just bad luck right now. Duncan says the NFL doesn't tell refs to call it one way. No way that conspiracy would stay quiet with all the ex-refs. I agree. I think it's just poor work, poor job performance, as opposed to a big conspiracy. J-Boy says, look, Jermaine Johnson is in year 2 and is good as fuck, but is not a name yet. Next time he gets the call. Jermaine Johnson is not a name on a national stage yet, but I do think that he will wind up being a very good edge rusher for the New York Jets for a long time, and I think he's going to replace Carl Lawson after this season. Even, I guess, by this season. Rich N says, Dalvin Cook getting paid $6+ million to chill out until next season. So I would look at whatever his incentives are, and based on his level of play right now, if you can move him, if you could just not play him so that, or not play him, but make it so he's not going to hit that threshold where it costs you an extra $1 million for a pretty bad running back at this particular point in time, which is kind of frustrating because I was hoping he'd have a little more juice left in the tank, and it seems like he is, in fact, cooked. Jerome says, give Taylor Swift the chicken. No, not that chicken. Oh, yeah, pervert. J-Boy says, 3-3 at the bye. I see it. I would love to catch Philly sleeping. I don't know if Philly's going to sleep on Joe Douglas, but man, it would make me feel good. Savage says, Ryan, I give you so much credit, fam. I would have went crazy when Disaster at Work was running his mouth. You held it together, fam. I know that wasn't easy at all. So you guys that are tuning in, if you don't know, myself and Richie are on the AFC East Roundtable on Mondays at 6 o'clock, and we are defending our Jets each week against the other division rivals. Master Work, a Patriot fan, went off on the New York Jets and how, Jet fans are going to cry about penalties, and now you know what the Chiefs are because the Patriots had to deal with that sort of stuff. Whatever. He definitely went off. But he's not really wrong. Jets had many opportunities outside of the fumble from Zach Wilson to win that game, or outside of the penalties to win that game. Jets played a better overall game. We just didn't make enough plays when it all comes down to the end. Matt Marger says, I can't wait to see them again later this year. We'll beat them then. Yeah, it would be nice to get another lick at these guys. Get them in the playoffs. Let's take care of Denver first before we start getting ahead of ourselves. I do have a little more hope than I did before yesterday's game. Michael says, we lost because the NFL values Swifties more than the Jets fan base. New money versus old money situation. They look at us as peasants. Hey, misery loves company. We're clearly still buying tickets and jerseys and all this other shit while the Jets are being abused and used and like losing like crazy. Stop paying for all the shit. Maybe they changed the script and it's all rigged for our favor then. I mean, heck, no one could have called Aaron Rodgers popping an Achilles. The way this schedule was built was definitely in favor of the New York Jets to try and get them to go on a run later in the season and play some of their tougher games while Rodgers is still trying to figure it out with a new offense or an old offense in a new city. I don't know. Definitely feels like they value the Swifties a little bit more. Dakota says, shout out to Micah Parsons, big time. Shout out to Chris Jones. Yes, guys, defending our quarterback. It's nice to see it from around the league. And I think Rodney Harrison looks like a complete douche nozzle for that interview that he gave post-game. J-Boy says, look, everybody, Zach is young. Some guys take 1 year, others take 3 or 4 years. 24 is young in today's NFL. Brady played till 45. Let him grow. It has been what GM and head coach have pushed. Yes. And also remember, Zach Wilson, what was that, his 26th game? He still has not played 2 complete years in the league. Yes, he's been in the league for now, this is his 3rd season, but he has been injured and has not played in games over the course of those 2 years, 2.5 years. So maybe we're starting to see some breakthrough here. If you can get him in a rhythm, he's got the talent. It's always just been between the ears. Andrew says they don't script it, but they definitely put their finger on the scale. It feels that way, right? Like the 5-yard holding penalty on a defense on a 3rd and 22 or 3rd and 20, whatever that game was, whatever that drive was. Whenever you get a 5-yard penalty on that type of like extreme down and distance, it always rubs me the wrong way. That feels like a very easy thing to call on almost any play. Matt says, when do call-ins start? Call-ins are going to start at 8:30, so I got 3 more minutes. We'll show some of the clips, and I want to get your guys' thoughts as well. Douglas comes in. Douglas says, it's easier to attribute an undesirable outcome to malicious intent when gross incompetence is just as plausible, but idiot or asshole results are the same. So I would say, I'm not entirely sure about the but idiot or asshole results are the same. But I would say that, yes, it's easy to say, oh, man, this outcome was bad because of that no-call penalty or because of that penalty that was called on Sauce. And I'll say it again. I think that was a penalty. I think Sauce held Scantling. I really do. I think, it sucks. My biggest issue is that they didn't call it on Jermaine Johnson. And based on the poll question, you guys are feeling the same way. 67% of you were more upset about the Jermaine Johnson no call than the Sauce Gardner call. Now, Sauce did release his comments on Twitter just a little bit ago. He says, since we are commenting, let me say it from my perspective. For starters, this was around 5 to 7 yards from the line of scrimmage, not 15. I guess Mahomes was saying it was if you have hands on someone 15 yards out, it's going to get called. I extended my arms, and he made the choice to lean on me with all of his weight, which caused my hand to slide to the back of his pad, not his neck. I did not grab him. I actually made a conscious effort to remove my right arm, as you can see in the video, when he then tried to swim with his right hand, and I pushed his arm down with my left hand. There you have it. It was not holding or illegal contact. Oh, my fault. It was holding because he threw the flag. So Sauce clearly feeling a certain type of way on this particular penalty that essentially ended the game for the New York Jets. And look, it's hard for me not to watch that replay and not think that it was, I think it was holding. I really do. So I want to pull up some of the clips real quick so we could just take a look and remember some of these things. So this is the holding call right here as we scrub forward in time. I feel like he clearly pulls down on his shoulder, or at least Scantling does a good job at making it look like that, because that looks like he altered his direction. Because where's he coming from? The 40. And this takes place right at the 5 to 7 mark. So Sauce is right there. Maybe 8 yards. Either way. Frustrating to see that game come down to that. Now, we do all know the Jermaine Johnson hold as well. As you watch number 11 come by, just getting mugged right in front of Patrick Mahomes. And what's worse is there's 2 back judges right there that were able to watch this entire thing. This was clear as day. If you're going to call the other one, you got to call this one. Got to call this one. Now let's hear from Sauce on how he felt the penalty was or was not post-game.
And how frustrating was that?
Receiver ran into me. It was a collision. The same thing that was happening all game. They ain't throw no flags. Pat threw the ball outside of the receiver. MC was there. He made the play. Then the ref threw the flag. Like, me personally, that's like when you play basketball and one-on-one and you go up to lay the ball up and you wait to see you miss and then say foul. Like, I can't believe that. Like, that was just crazy because, like, I don't even think they threw the ball my way at me first 3 quarters. Then they started throwing checkdowns, and then the shot that they try to take that's not going, then they finally get bailed out by that. 4th quarter, crunch time, like, I mean, like, that's, I don't even know what to say.
So frustrating response from Sauce Gardner there. He clearly feels like he did not do anything wrong. I will say again, I do think that was a hold. You can't cross the receiver's body. You allowed them to see it. That's really the thing that it comes down to, right? Like, if you don't manipulate the receiver and get him off his trajectory, you can have hands on him. Hands on him's fine. Steering him, not good. Now, let's talk about Jermaine Johnson and his response to the penalty, or not a penalty, on him.
There's a clip going around Twitter right now on the 3rd and long, 3rd and 23, that looks like you got held. Just from your vantage point, what happened on that play?
I mean, I was going, I'm looking at Mahomes, seeing which way he's going to go. He wasn't really going, so I was, trying to go apply some pressure. I got grabbed, and obviously I already had the one personal, so I didn't want to, try to get him off me, and then I get another one, I'm out the game, so I'm just trying to signal to a ref, like, yo, I can't move. Like, I'm trying to show resistance because I know that's what they need to see. I want that one back. I should never put myself in a position for him to hold me. I just want that one back. That was a 25-yard scramble by him, and the guys were playing with 10 on the field, and, I got to live with that.
So Jermaine Johnson obviously felt like he was held, and I think all Jet fans can look at that replay and just say, okay, that's clearly a hold if the Sauce one is clearly a hold. Just call it consistently. That's all we're saying. I'm not saying the Sauce thing was not a penalty. But, man, it feels like the NFL really wanted Taylor Swift and the Chiefs to have their little happily ever after this past game. It's frustrating. Really frustrating to watch. Now, I want to jump real quick to the comments by Rodney Harrison and Chris Jones. This was post-game.
Was Zach better tonight than what you anticipated he would be watching him on tape? And you could be honest.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if I'm being completely honest, we knew it was going to be a battle. He's continuing to get better week in and week out, and he's continued to lead week in and week out.
But watching that tape, man, you got to look at this dude and say, "Oh, he is garbage." Like we should really tear him apart
Earlier, like I said, Zach Wilson is special, man. You just got to give the guy time. You know what I mean?
Wait. Did you say Zach Wilson is special?
Yeah.
I think he had a special night, but I don't think he's special. I've got to prove that over. You're special because you proved it over a course of time. He's not special. I'm just saying, Chris.
Hey, listen.
I'm just saying.
So pile on Zach, Mr. Former Patriot Rodney Harrison, low-hanging fruit, and just trying to lay into a kid that just put on the best performance of his young career. Rather than talking about, what happened in that game, Rodney Harrison decides to go that route. This guy's a piece of garbage. Get this dude off TV. You want to talk about a non-serious interview? That was it. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Unacceptable. All right. I want to hop over. We're going to do some call-in questions because I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to put the call-in number pinned in the live chat. So if you guys want to call in, I want to hear your thoughts on the game from yesterday. Everything. Good, bad, ugly. Up. We got Christian on the show. Christian, how you doing tonight, brother?
Man, Zach Wilson proved me wrong when I said last week that we cannot win with this dude, and he nearly won us the game. It's
dude,
just crazy.
He proved a lot of fans wrong. I mean, I think we're all hoping he can do it, another time and continue to do that. If he needs us to rip him apart each and every week for that kind of performance to happen, we could do that.
And also, like, if he continues to play like this, we can win a lot of games and we could be scary. So, like, hopefully he can do the same thing against Denver and, hopefully put up a 40 or 50 burger on them. It'll be something sweet to see.
Dude, I just want to see an offensive kind of explosion against Denver, whether it be our running backs or Zach having a great game. I mean, it would make me feel a lot better if Zach wound up having a good game on top of what we just saw against the Chiefs. I just don't want to see us turn back into a pumpkin. That's my big thing. Like, don't give me what I saw against Dallas. Don't give me what I saw against the Patriots. I want to see this new look offense. I want to see Ruckert out there. I want to see Hardman running around. I want to see Gibson out there. That's what I want to see.
Yes, and, I do not want to blame our loss on the refs because, it sounds childish. It seems like I'm just looking for excuses. And there were other factors that played into the loss, but especially those two moments where it grinds my gears. Be like, dude, how do you even have a job? Like, it's just so
crazy.
frustrating.
This is their only job, but it's not their only job. They can have a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and then just on weekends come over here. That's basically like having a YouTube channel where you got a career elsewhere. It's like, it's just my side hustle. Yet it's millions and millions of dollars hanging on every call with these guys.
Yes, and I'm just sick and tired of hearing about Taylor Swift and all these new fans of the NFL be like, oh my god, I've about to hear it all week. I'm just sick and tired of hearing it. It's really starting to annoy me.
Now, do you think that the Jets are going to get a little more recognition after yesterday's game, as opposed to maybe some of the hate that we've seen?
I hope so, because since but knowing of how current NFL history and past NFL history has worked out, that probably will not work out. But as long as it's for bullet material, so go for it.
Now, what do you expect coming up with Denver this week? We're traveling out there. You think we get the Hackett revenge game?
I really hope so. And Denver, they're a trash team. So I think, as long as we play with the same game plan, I think we're going to dominate.
I love it. Christian, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right. We got Matt joining the show. Matt, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Just a couple thoughts I want to talk about. So
yeah, absolutely.
One, that was my first. I was actually at the game last night. That was my first game
Ooh.
since the Jaguars game in like Zach Wilson's rookie year. You know, because you were at the primetime game. The thing they did with the lights is really cool. Like I loved
Oh,
it.
it was awesome, dude. The bracelets
Yeah,
were a lot of fun.
it was
The
sick.
energy in that
Yeah.
crowd looked like it was bumping.
Yeah. Two. So you showed a couple of the bad calls that were called. I don't think the sauce was holding. Like, so I
Mhm.
understand why you think it was holding, and
Mhm.
like a lot of people have been saying it, and like I'm not disagreeing. I just didn't think it was because one, it was 5 to 7 yards, and
Mhm.
two, the receiver kind of put his weight on Sauce. So it's like as a corner, what are you supposed to do in that situation? There's not much you can do. So I understand why they called it, but you couldn't. You have to call the Jermaine Johnson call. And I don't know if you saw the play on Pacheco's 40-yard run. The guy was holding Jamie Sherwood's ankles, so he couldn't get out and go to make a tackle. So even
I
if
heard about
Sherwood
that.
would,
I have to go back and watch the actual replay of it because I haven't
yeah,
seen the hold or the tripping yet, but I
yeah.
did hear about that
So
earlier
he
today.
was so basically Sherwood would have had an angle to tackle him. Would have he? I don't know, but it should have been called though. And I mean, I thought we played a really good game. Zach looked good. I mean, people just got to calm down. Like we on prime time, Zach Wilson outperformed the best quarterback in the league. And will he be like that every game? No, but like we don't need him to be like that every game. Think about that. The way he played last night against one of the best teams in the NFL, we just proved that we could be right there. So I think, in my opinion, they just got to give Brees the ball more because I mean, he had 6 carries for 56 yards. I mean, he's a monster, and they got to stop giving the ball to Dalvin. I love that they got Garrett Wilson 14 targets. Will he get 14 every game? No, but you gotta get your best wide receiver the ball a lot or attempt to. And
Yeah,
I like
100%. I think Brees getting the 6 carries too. Like you're preaching to the choir. They got to take Dalvin Cook's reps away, even if you don't give him all to Brees and you give him, you know, a lot to Michael Carter or some to Izzy.
yeah.
Like I feel like we have better running backs than what we're getting out of Dalvin Cook right now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I just think it's his name what's so big. But another thing is, so if Zach plays like that, let's say he plays like that, but like 90% of that. So like more like a game manager. That's all the Jets really need. With
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers, you were getting a top 5 like a top 7, 8 quarterback who could be top 5 again. But
Mm-hmm.
now you're going to go play the Broncos, who barely beat the Bears. We should win that easily. Then you play a Philly team who I know is 4-0, but when you watch them play, their secondary looks like they kind of aged a little bit. Then you play the Giants off the bye week, who haven't looked good. The Chargers defense has been awful, and we have one of the best defenses in the league. And I think from there we can win a lot of games.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Jets handle the rest of this way out because I think if you can get the win in Denver, it sets you up for a really nice matchup with Philadelphia at home heading into the bye week. Matt, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected.
That's it. You're
The
out of
cockpit.
here.
Lots of good points made there. We got Jets Nation joining the show. Jets Nation, how you doing tonight, brother?
Is this thing on? Okay, okay.
Yep, got
Yeah,
you loud
what's
and
up,
clear.
man? It was. I was very proud of Zach Wilson last night. I've been a guy who's been like very critical, like to him, like calling him a bum and stuff. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
still understanding that the fact that he's still young and he's gonna, he's getting that mentorship from Aaron Rodgers. He's gonna learn a lot more. I feel like our O line was pretty good last night, especially when Zach was in the pocket,
Mm-hmm.
getting them throws off. But I feel like um, we definitely had a bunch of crucial drops during our drives, and especially that fumble too that
Mm-hmm.
took us out the game sometimes, and especially that whole call. There wasn't a whole call. And
Mm-hmm.
that was horrible. It's horrible. But
It's
with
hard
the
to
start,
overcome all those different things, right? Like there's so many
yeah,
little things that happen that in a little microcosm isn't necessarily bad, but those little mistakes against an elite team like the Chiefs, they'll make you pay for it.
yeah. Especially that Michael Carter drop.
Oh.
I was like, oh man, that hurt us bad. It hurt
Mm-hmm.
us bad, man. And
I mean,
I
it would have been
think
nice
they
having like maybe a 36-yard field goal instead of a 52-yarder.
yeah, it would have been nice, bro. I would have took that better. Yeah, but I think we need to give more reps to Brees Hall
Mm-hmm.
instead of Dalvin Cook, especially Brees is a little faster and stronger,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that would be better. And I'm not mad at the hold call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad that they threw it after the interception, because I think they could have threw it in the middle of the play but as soon as the ball got intercepted, he just decided to throw the flag, bro. And I think that's the problem. I don't think it was not. I'll give it to them. It was the hold, but throwing it after the interception, come on, man.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
just
say I was gonna say, looking at that play, I was like, okay, I get it. That was a hold. But the way in which it was thrown, and because of everything that led up to it, and the Instagram post and the Twitter like banner, everything that goes into it, that's like all Taylor Swift and all this drama and the money that's behind the Swifty push and all the jerseys that are being sold for Kelsey, it felt very, very weird to see that flag thrown as late as it was, and it did not give good optics. You know, why did he wait? Why did he wait till after the interception to be like, okay, yeah, no, now I'll throw it? Something's off.
But I was proud of our defense. You know, stopping an elite QB like Patrick Mahomes is definitely a big deal, especially in the NFL. I feel like our defense exposed the Chiefs' offense, and I feel like we can, us doing that to them, other teams could beat them, especially too. That's all I really have to say. And I just have to say one more thing. Fuck Taylor Swift, bro. Fuck Taylor Swift.
You have been ejected from the cockpit, brother. I appreciate the call. Tim drops in. Tim says, thoughts on thoughts on DJ pulling up at the 15 while chasing down Pacheco on the touchdown run. I'll have to go back and watch that. I didn't realize he pulled up trying to chase him down. I feel really bad about DJ Reed going after Mahomes and then kind of sidestepping so he didn't get a penalty, but Mahomes still had the ball. So it was like kind of this weird situation where you don't want your guy to make the illegal hit and say, oh no, you know, Mahomes threw the ball and he hit him late, and then here comes the laundry on the field. Overall, I think Reed is a very smart player. Now, without knowing where he was on that particular play, I cannot speak on 100% confidence that he stopped chasing down Pacheco, but you got to be able to stop. Got to be able to stop. Can't have them running wild the way they ran on us yesterday. We got Savage Jedi coming in. How you doing tonight, brother?
What's up, fam?
Dude, how you feeling today?
Oh, you know, it's a gullet, punch. But at least the league is on notice to where they see that bias. I'll just keep it, PG-13 BS to where, like you said, the Swifty, the non-calls, the blatant JJ. Dude, he it's almost like, I don't want to go morbid or nothing, but it's like the guy was getting choked out. If you see him getting he was chopping.
It was bizarre. It was such an outrageously obvious hold that when we're watching it live, I'm just like, oh, good, there's a flag. Like, that's clearly what the penalty is going to be.
Yeah,
and then it's on the secondary. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, and then I saw you two with the second. You were like, all right, with the secondary, it was like, wait, it can't be this. But then they called it on us. Bud, Sam, wow. It's blatant.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and that's what I love about us, too. A lot of people forget, we're a fourth quarter team. We're a second half team. Zach did that. A lot of people like to forget, I love the reinsurgence with him, but thank God that it's not like LaFraud. We actually have an offensive coordinator, and he's adapting, and that's what you need. Zach is not a bad quarterback, dude. What he did at BYU was unbelievable. Now, mind you, a lot of people don't watch college football, but he beat the bricks off of USC. He did those types of things. I don't know. I'm sorry for taking up that time, but you go ahead, fam.
No, that's all right. You got 3 minutes. You're fine. You got a minute left. Now, coming off that game last night, how are you feeling heading into Denver now, given that this has all the hype around it of being the Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett revenge game? How are you feeling the Jets are going to do, now having seen the Jets-Chiefs game? What are your expectations for this upcoming week?
I'm allowed to curse, or am I not?
Go for it.
We're going to annihilate and kick the ever-living fuck out of them. I said it, too, before. When I love you, Ryan. I love you, fam.
Dude.
Gangrene for life. But like I said it too, I will never respond again if we do not beat the ever living dog shit out of Denver, because last night was atrocious and just what the fuck. Sorry, fam. Go ahead. My bad.
Dude, absolutely brutal. Savage, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we got Joe B joining the show. Joe B, how you doing tonight, brother?
What's up, Ryan? How are you?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. What were your feelings watching that Chiefs game last night? Do you think there should have been penalties? How do you feel about fans saying maybe the game was thrown in favor of the Chiefs?
As far as saying the NFL is rigged, I don't really want to fall behind saying that I agree with that. But due to the circumstances, being that I don't think anyone really had the Jets winning this game, and all the money that the NFL would have had to pay out, and all the potential Swiftie fans that could become NFL fans now, I think that had something to do with it. Now, I don't think that was a hold on Sauce Gardner, personally. I think the refs, for the most part of the game, have been letting the DBs and receivers battle it out. So you kind of have to, in my opinion, in crunch time, let them play it out and not throw that flag. But I do want to spend some time talking about our OC. I think he did an exceptional job with game plan. I liked how Zach was able to diagnose defenses pre-snap and audible out of a lot of different plays that we might have had called pre-snap. And a lot of it, too, is putting a lot of guys in motion. Having those,
yeah, it felt like a totally different offense with Hardman and Ruckert and Gibson. Like, there was speed on the field.
Totally different. Love Ruckert, man. Gives you so much more. I mean, I love Conklin, but Ruckert, blocking-wise, just gives you that personnel option that the defense has to account for, in a sense.
He's our number one tight end right now in my mind. Like, I see him on the field, I'm like, okay, we got a player out there right now.
Absolutely. But I do like how all of our tight ends are dynamic in their own sense. They all have the ability to have some hands downfield and be somewhat of a threat. So the defense has to, account for that in some sense. But Zach just had a great game, and I'm not going to fall in line with, Zach is great, this, that, and the third, but I would like to see some sort of consistency, and then I'll be, along for the ride.
Now, what do you think happens this week coming with Denver coming up?
I would like to see, again, consistency, but I think that with all things considering, with preseason, all the comments going back and forth, I think we're going to come out firing on all cylinders. And I love I love how vocal, and I love the attitude from Saleh at the end of the game, getting that flag. I think he did it on purpose on Sunday night to show the world that, like, he's not going to take no shit, and showing his team, like, if you're going down, I'm going down with you.
Oh, I love the fire and passion that Saleh showed there, because he put everything that Jet fans were feeling at that moment in time out on the field. It was like, you have got to be effing kidding me. Take that flag every damn day. Joe B, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit.
That's it. You're out of here.
All right, we got Alan joining the show. Alan, how you doing tonight, brother? Alan, can you hear me?
Hey, Ryan, you there?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear. There might be a little delay.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Uh-oh. He ejected himself. All right, we're going to go to Hype. Hype, welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, Ryan, how's things going today?
I am hanging in there. A little disappointed with how things went last night, but overall, kind of optimistic. How are you feeling today?
I feel the same. Hey, I got a couple hot takes that I want to throw your way.
Yeah, let's go.
One of the biggest problems that I have right now is down the field blocking. So Garrett Wilson blew a block that would have given Breece Hall a touchdown in the first game.
Yep.
I believe in yesterday's game. Great game played. Zach played well, but Conklin blew that game for us. And people will
You're talking
say,
about the turf monster, right? That he kind of tripped over himself.
so that's the second time Brees would have had a touchdown that blocking destroyed his touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was all Conklin. And then Conklin drops the touchdown pass.
Yeah.
If Conklin makes those two plays,
Mhm.
it's not even a close game. That's
It was
14 points.
Oh, 100%. I think the turf monster thing, I think Brees would have had to set up that play a little bit better because I think he almost kind of juked Conklin out of it. But I caught that too. I was like, oh man, if Conklin just stayed on his feet and blocked that dude, there's no way he's catching Brees. And then the drop touchdown, he's a pro. He's got to be able to catch that. I know it was a difficult pass and it would have been a hard catch to make, but man, that was a big time play that could have been made at a big time moment.
Yeah. And you know, I just heard one of the previous callers talking about the tight ends, and I do agree with you. Rucker should be getting more playing time. Do you know what it is to be a diehard fan? Like everything that you want in life is coming true, and you're just not getting the opportunity to show everyone how great you could be with the opportunity. Let's keep giving him more opportunities. I understand what they were saying, that his route running isn't crisp yet. His blocking is there, but his route running's not crisp enough for him to be more in tuned in game time. But
Dude,
he's going to get there.
I want to see the most speed on the field. You've seen what the Dolphins can do. That speed builds pressure and pressure burst pipes. I don't want to see like Dalvin Cook out there. I don't really want to see Randall Cobb out there. Some of these slower wide receivers, while they might be reliable at times, like get the speed out there and show the young guns, flex your muscles a little bit. That's what I want to say.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. We're getting there, though. People talk about the streak with the Patriots. We need to break that streak with the Eagles. That's my final take. Let's go.
Oh, 100% hype. Thank you so much. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, I just want to acknowledge Douglas real quick. He drops it with a 20 spot. Thank you so much. Douglas says, if the NFL is scripted, could there be a better storyline than for the universally derided quarterback on a long maligned franchise in the largest media market to resurrect his career and go on to win the AFC East, beating New England week 17? I mean, if the Jets could clinch a playoff berth week 18, the final week of the NFL season, and be able to overcome the loss of a 4-time MVP quarterback in Aaron Rodgers on opening night, that's storybook. I don't believe in this whole scripted thing, but man, I'd be buying a DVD of the season if the Jets turn this whole thing around. Blitzcrew comes in. Blitzcrew says, Ruckert must be a gamer. Meh in practice, but a monster on the field. Only thing that explains the playing time. So I'll say this. Ruckert in practice is a dog. He went after Michael Clemens, one of the practices I was at, and it just kept feeling like he was just ready to go. He was ready to make a big impact. On the offensive side of the ball, I would say he was the offensive equivalent of what I felt like Jermaine Johnson was going to be on defense. I think this was a breakout year for Ruckert, and I'm hoping we get to see more reps from him. I believe he played about 42% of the snaps, I think is what I saw Rich Cimini post. So I think while he's shown it in practice, I think there was a relying factor, a reliability thing that they were just like, okay, we're going to roll with Conklin, we're going to roll with Uzama, and then as you started to see, like, okay, this kid Ruckert, he deserves a few more reps. Now I think you're starting to see it a little bit more, especially with that awesome catch and throw that Zach had along the right sideline that really, really was impressive. All right, let's hop over to Anthony. Anthony, welcome to the cockpit.
What's going on, Rye? How you feeling?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. I'm feeling weirdly optimistic even after that loss yesterday. How are you feeling about our New York Jets?
I'm about to bring it down. So ready?
No! What are you doing? Ready? All right, let's go.
First off, I don't want to talk about the refs. They effed us with no Vaseline, but we had so many chances to just be better, so that way it wouldn't have mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Zach
I agree.
missed the Garrett Zach missed the Conklin tutty. Mosley dropped the pick six. Doink field goal. You know, what it is, right? The reason I'm calling, convince me that Salah shouldn't be fired. And I love Salah as a human being. I really do. But the nepotism with the veterans, like we centered our whole line around Dwayne Brown, who's ass. Lakin, ass. Carl Lawson, like him a lot. Ass. McGovern is okay. Cobb and Cook, like you were saying, like Brees needs to be getting 20 carries a game. And I get it, he's not the offensive guy. But as the head coach, he brought in LaFleur, who sucked. He's bringing in Hackett, who's making these bad decisions. It falls on him. So please, if you like Salah, make the case as to why he shouldn't be fired.
So for me, a lot of what Salah has done, I understand the frustration, right? Like I think the shirts last year with Mike White, that was a miscalculation trying to create some kind of spark, and it just, wound up backfiring as soon as Mike White wound up getting hurt. This year, I feel like the Jets went out and addressed clearly their biggest issue, which was quarterback and just a freak injury to Aaron Rodgers. And I think there would be a stronger case for firing Salah if he loses the locker room. Like right now, it doesn't feel like he's lost it. It felt like it was going to be real close after that Patriot game. Like Michael Carter, Garrett Wilson, all kind of chirping, making noise. I don't like seeing that. But seeing how they responded yesterday, I felt like was impressive given where they appeared to be heading. And in a primetime matchup with a Super Bowl champion Chiefs, that felt like we could have unraveled very easily.
If the Jets play offensively the same way they did last night, I'm with you. But don't let yourself have the recency bias. Remember the pain from weeks 2 and 3. And, that nepotism, I think that's a solid thing. But it's all over the place. Like you guys were just saying it before. Ruckert needs to be getting on the field.
Well, so this is still only week 4. Are we going to see a change? Because this week we saw the change. You saw Ruckert get on the field. You saw Hardman get on the field. You saw Gibson get on the field. Carl Lawson, he's been MIA all season. I have no idea if he was even on the field last night.
But weeks 2 and 3 might have been wins if he didn't figure it out in week 4, presumably. And who knows? Maybe in week 5 it's the same crap, So
sure.
I don't know. I want to see more. I hope Nathaniel Hackett's listening to this.
I think there's absolutely some fair criticism for Robert Saleh. I love the game plan that we got to see from Nathaniel Hackett yesterday. I'm hoping we see more RPOs, more up-tempo stuff for Zach to really get him in a rhythm, and then we can make a fair assessment towards the end of the year. Because if this team bottoms out and they win 3, 4, 5 games, something like that, it will be at the feet of the coach and the GM because something went wrong. This team is too talented to only win that many games. Anthony, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. J-Boy pops in, says, Ryan, ready for the most Jets thing ever. Zach balls out, gets us to the playoffs, wins a road game in Kansas City. Then Rodgers says, I'm ready to play, and he sucks. Oh, don't do that to me. I am hoping for this circumstance where Zach plays great this whole season, gets us into the playoffs. Rodgers comes back, and he's going to be playing well. Or we just have this weird conundrum of like, what do? We have 2 good quarterbacks. We haven't had a good quarterback in fucking 50 years, but we got 2 now by accident. Great problem to have. I hope it happens because if Rodgers winds up stinking it up in the playoffs, if that's ultimately where the Jets can actually get to, then we have Zach on the back burner to be able to rely on. Then we have a good backup quarterback. Now, obviously, if Zach performs well and Rodgers is able to come back, I do think they are going to ride Zach as long as he's not the detriment that he has been the last 2.5 years or so. It's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Knobcraft comes in, says, I love watching bad refs every time that spotlight goes on, almost as much as I love asking why our defensive players can't wrap up on tackles or take decisive angles of pursuit. The lack of tackling from Jordan Whitehead has driven me absolutely fucking bonkers this year. And it happened all last year. And I thought after week 1, where he had the 3 interceptions, I was like, oh, he's turning around. This is the second year in the defense. Whitehead turning things around. He still launches his body like a weapon and doesn't wrap up. You got to wrap up the tackles. That's what I want to see. I'm with you, Knobcraft. As much as I love seeing horrible calls and as much as I love seeing missed tackles, we got to clean that up. Got to clean that up. All right, let's jump over to Jonathan. Jonathan, welcome to the Call-In Show.
How you doing?
hanging in there. Talk to me. How you feeling about last night's game?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know, you didn't really go into that game expecting to be in the position we were in, so you got to be happy with that at least.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Wilson, you kind of just got to be aware of his consistency at this point. You just got to hope that that's what's going to continue to happen from here on out. But
Yeah, just
Nathaniel
stack game
Hackett, in
after
all
game.
seriousness,
Just do another game. Just let us see, 90% of what we saw yesterday, and I'd feel really good about it.
yeah, because he can do well. We've seen it before. We saw it against Tennessee. We've seen spotlight games like this before, so we just need to see consistency, really. So I'm excited, but I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic with him.
Mm-hmm. Now, how'd you feel about
And
those
then
penalties or lack thereof?
So the one that pissed me off the most was that same play where Sauce has the phantom penalty. You kind of just sit there and you see Jermaine Johnson struggling to even get off a guy with no hands. So
Mm-hmm.
that's frustrating to see. You know, if you call that and the game's basically over, that's 6 minutes. The Jets don't touch the ball for way longer than that. So that's
Mm-hmm.
frustrating. You don't even give us an opportunity to win. We don't even know if we could have won that game. That's what pisses me off the most.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? Like, it feels like we were deprived the opportunity. And I didn't say this earlier, but it felt almost eerily similar in a weird way. And I know people are going to take this the wrong way, but that Chiefs-Bills playoff game where they went back and forth exchanging touchdowns and Josh Allen just never had the opportunity to get the ball back in his hand, in a very small, narrow sense, that's sort of how I felt with Zach Wilson yesterday. It felt like we were on track to go down and score some more points, and we just never had the opportunity to get the ball back.
Absolutely, because Zach Wilson played a great game. And you know, when he's playing a great game, he's going to continue to play a good game. So if he gets that ball back, he's probably going to win us that game. I believe that 100%. Now, do I believe he's going to play like that next week? Maybe, because we're playing Denver. But I just want to be able to see that consistency throughout the rest of the season. Because I'm hopeful for Aaron Rodgers. I'm not depending on him. You know, I don't want him to force himself to come out early for a team like New York that has been like this, and we can be something next year instead of trying to push ourselves to be something this year when we don't have to.
Yeah, I want to see where this team can get to with Zach Wilson, because I would love nothing more than to be like, wow, Rodgers is kind of healthy and he'll be backup emergency quarterback if, God forbid, something happens to Zach. Like, that's ultimately where we want to be, because you have the young quarterback right now. And then Rodgers can come back when he's fully healthy next year, and then you have a high caliber backup in Zach for at least the season. Or maybe they go into training camp and there's actually a duel between the two of them. I don't know if I'll see that.
That would be amazing.
It would be incredible.
Yeah.
Jonathan, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. We've got Alan joining the show again. Alan, let's give it another go. How you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. I navigated away from the page for a second, and then when I came
It's
back,
okay.
So anyway, we obviously were talking a lot about the penalties, and one of the things that I noticed when I went into work today, because I'm surrounded by Eagles fans, is that Eagles fans also were really, really complaining about the officiating yesterday. So I don't know if you saw any of that game at all, but there was a number of calls actually on both sides for the Commanders and the Eagles, where the officiating really didn't make any sense, and the game was actually won off of a tush push that should have been a false start.
Oh,
And
I
so-
see. I did not watch the Eagles game, so that's interesting.
So I thought that was pretty interesting, especially because that's the other Kelsey game too.
Oh man, yeah, 100%. Yeah, you got Kelsey. I just love how like T Swift is with Travis Kelsey, and then she's an Eagles fan because she's from Pennsylvania. So now she's got the other Kelsey too, and it's just going to be this whole love affair with the Kelsey brothers and the Taylor Swift thing. They're going to ride it the entire season.
Yeah, anybody putting odds on another Kelsey Super Bowl?
Oh God, I really hope that's not the case. Then I'm definitely going to be calling rigged.
Yeah, but on the Jets side, as horrible as that game felt at the end, from that last drive, I was really encouraged by what I saw. The defense is playing good. Quincy Williams is like a whole different dude this year. It's amazing. For all the bad lines he took last year, the leap that he's made is incredible. And
he might be our defensive wow player for the year so far. Like I was expecting it to be Jermaine Johnson, but Quincy has taken a massive step forward.
right, JJ got all the attention in preseason, but Quincy has really been good. And I mean, if we can play 3/4 of the offense that we played yesterday, we're going to win a lot of games. And I thought it was really good and really cool that Zach was able to step up like that, and that they seem to have listened to the fans and getting some of the younger guys out there, and in Gibson and Ruckert, and now they just got to lay off a Cobb, give him 10% of the snaps.
Yeah, right. Like Cobb feels very much like the Frank Gore in receiver fashion. Like Cobb's here because of Aaron Rodgers and because of the, I'm sure his leadership and everything. But as far as like play on the field goes, I would very much like to see the speed. Get as much speed out there as possible. I like seeing Hardman out there for those jet sweeps just to keep teams off balance. Get a little pre-snap motion going.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for calling in, Alan. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right. We're going to go to Johnny, then Chris, then Sam, then Steven. But first, Jonathan comes in. Jonathan says, the refs with calls already in the Giants and Seahawks game. I have it up, but I have my audio on mute, so I don't actually know what is or is not being said. You guys can let me know in the chat what exactly bad calls are going on in that game, because I am interested. I am interested to see. Real quick, before we hop into the calls, I do want to acknowledge our sponsor of today, and that is Underdog Fantasy. If you guys would like to play along, $100 they'll match 100% of your first time deposit up to $100. Jets 247. That's Jets 24/7 at Underdog Fantasy. You guys can play all season long. It's a blast. I've had a lot of fun. If you want to support the channel and you enjoy this sort of prop parlay contest type of layout that they got going, I would highly recommend it. I've had a lot of fun with it. Now, my slate for yesterday, not good. I had 5 picks. I put $20 up for this contest. Chance to win $400. Clearly, not performing the way I want to. Travis Kelce, I said he would get more or higher than 6.5 receptions. He wound up having 6. I'm happy to be wrong on this one, because after the last 2 weeks, I was just going to take the under on everything. Breece Hall did get me the over or the higher on that one. Garrett Wilson, I did think he was going to get the 21.5. I thought we'd get one breakaway run from him. Did not get that. Zerline, if he gets the extra, if he gets that 3 points before half, or we don't go for a 2-point conversion, I wind up getting that one correct. Unfortunately, he's going to wind up being a loss. And Dalvin Cook, I got to stop picking this dude for anything. 26.5 rushing yards. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. So Underdog Fantasy, while I'm not particularly great at it right now because I keep picking our damn Jets, very much a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed it. So if you guys want to support the channel, you want to make yourself a little bit of money, Jets 24/7 promo code. They'll match 100% of your first time deposit up to $100. So make sure you check them out. But let's hop back over to some calls. I want to talk to Johnny. Johnny, how you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, what's going on, dude? Hey, man. First off, bro, what up, Ryan? What a game yesterday, right? It was nuts.
Rush.
But hey, man, dude, as a fan base, we got to do better, man. Dude, everybody, like that guy that called before talking about Breece Hall, right? Get it. We want to give him, he needs to get more reps and all that, right? But what's going to happen if he gets hurt? We got to protect him from himself. That's what nobody's getting. I'd rather have Breece Hall when we do this playoff run that I think is going to happen, right? What's going to happen if he does hurt himself right now? The narrative is going to be, oh, Salah should have not done this. Shouldn't have put him in. Blah, 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 right? Fire Salah. For what? Why? He's doing the best that he can right now. We have not been nowhere near the team that we've ever been in a long time. People need to take this and be happy for what it is, because this is just only going to make us more competitive for a long time to come. Hackett, last week, dude, Zach Wilson had people open. what is he supposed to do?
Mhm.
Right? I mean, go out there and QB himself? No, they look, this narrative of get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy needs to stop, man. Dude,
Mhm.
this team is set to be competitive for a long time coming. I love the way the Jets organization is moving forward. You know, we haven't been like this. I mean, Woody Johnson is not scared to spend money. Yes, the Dalvin Cook thing, the dude looks cooked. He does. I'm sorry. He's missing open holes that he should be hitting, but he's not doing it. Then the other thing, dude, our defense, man. Man, our defense is, dude, Ashton Davis. Like, who would
Dude,
have
every
thought?
time he gets on the field, he's making a play.
Exactly. You know, Whitehead needs to stop being a missile, right? Because
Yep.
he's missing really badly. But it is what it is, dude. I'm still happy. I mean, we held the defending champs to what, 3 points in the second half, right? That's
Yeah, it was 6
crazy. No,
points after that initial 17-0 start.
exactly. If Michael Carter catches that ball, brings it a little bit closer, right? Conklin catches that. Wilson maybe does an incredible grab. Dude, there's just so many what ifs could have happened. Dude, I'm proud of our team. We're going to beat Denver. We're going to upset the Eagles. And from there, we're just not going to lose anymore, man. I'm manifesting it like Aaron Rodgers has said, bro. We're doing
Oh,
this.
absolutely. I want to bask in all of it. I just want to see, like, as optimistic as I am after yesterday's game, I just want to see Zach do it again. Just prove it one more time. And then after you prove it one more time, let's prove it again. Let's just keep stacking game after game after game. Johnny, thank you so much for the call, brother. You have been ejected from the cockpit. Chris KV drops in, says, for the first time, it looked like Zach played to the same standard as the rest of the team. He needs to keep producing like that if he wants to belong. Yes, I feel like he has bought himself another start, maybe two. Like, you could say maybe things don't go 100% his way this way, and then you roll into the Eagle game, and he probably starts that game as well because you're hoping that maybe it reverts back to what you saw to tonight. I do think Zach, if he continues to play at that level, the Jets are going to win a lot of games and we will make the playoffs. If we get that version of Zach on a consistent basis, the Jets are going to be a very, very dangerous team. Jonathan drops in and says, biggest critique I have for the defense is wrapping up on tackles, and I'm right there with you, Jonathan. I think the misses from Whitehead, from I think Clemens might have had a miss on the long Pachenko run. I'd have to go back and look at it exactly. But wrapping up guys after that initial hit, it's a must. It's absolutely a must. You can't keep getting yards after contact like that. You got to be able to stop it as soon as you hit the guy. All right, we got a fun one coming up right here. We got Chris from Florida. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, bud. I'm just helping out a customer real quick. Come back to me in just a minute, okay?
Absolutely. I'm going to move you back into the green room, and we're going to go to Sam. Sam, what's up, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, Ryan. How's it going tonight?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable about our Jets moving forward right now after yesterday's game.
Yeah, I definitely I had hockey when the first quarter happened, so I'm like, oh, great, it's 17-0. I might as well, not even worry about looking at the game, looking at the score. Game was over. I go into the locker room and I see Uzama catching a touchdown. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe there's something here.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing, the defense just got to come out of the gate faster on defense.
Yeah,
you
can't
let
keep
them get
spotting these
down by
points.
10, 17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate to say it, chat. Craig from the last few weeks, yeah, he might have a point. He's saying the defense is giving him, putting him in a whole 10 points. Zach has all these great throws. Dude, we were laughing at him, the last 2 weeks. Maybe he's laughing at us now. I'm surprised I haven't seen him pop in the chat yet.
Oh, he's just waiting for next week when we put the Broncos mascot Thunder into the glue factory. But
oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be absolutely awesome. I hope we just.
I don't need to see Zach throw,
350.
I don't need to see 355 touchdowns. I just need to see, give me 200, 2-3 touchdowns. Give Brees 1 or 2 on the ground. Never let Dalvin Cook go on the field again, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Dalvin Cook, but man, I will say this. Brees Hall staying healthy is so much more important given the way that Dalvin Cook is currently looking right now, and that part kind of bugs me a little bit.
Well, watching Dalvin Cook last night, it's like he's trying to find purple to run behind, not green. Because I saw him just go directly into defenders most of the time. Yeah,
he's
I
running.
saw him try to cut back to the middle, and I see him run into two defenders in a pocket right to his right-hand side.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened. He just fell off a cliff so fast. And there were signs. There were people saying it when we were signing him, like, hey, look at these metrics. These are alarming. I know Michael Nania was one of the big guys saying, hey, look, we should not be signing this guy. He's cooked. And I didn't want to believe it because I really liked Cook coming out of college, and I really liked him the last few years in Minnesota, and I just wanted it to all work out. But I know better because I was one of the people pushing for Le'Veon Bell. I just got to shut my mouth on this stuff.
I didn't want Dalvin Cook solely because of Le'Veon Bell PTSD. That was it. I'm like, give him to Miami, let him do absolutely nothing there, or give him to Buffalo, let him do absolutely nothing there because his brother's absolutely tearing it up right now. But
yeah, James is pretty good. I like James coming out of Georgia. I thought he was one of the better running backs. I think they got him in the 3rd round too. It was a nice value pick.
Yeah, it was after they all the fan base got pissed that we took Brees in the 2nd.
Oh, it was so great. Did you see the Buffalo Fanatics reaction to that pick?
Yep.
Oh, it was so good.
All my friends texted me. They're like, "Oh, goddamn, you guys, we hate you even more."
Oh, dude, it was absolutely incredible. Sam, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, I'm going to maybe go over to Chris. Chris, how you doing over there?
Everybody get up and get hyped because Zach Wilson was showing in front of his mentor that he can be the future New York Jets quarterback. Everybody get hyped, get excited. Let's go. Jets. Ryan, what a game, man. Was not expecting it, but man, I am so glad that I got to watch some prime time football play. Man, that felt good to watch.
It was nice not getting embarrassed. That's 2 primetime games in a row that the Jets actually look good in. Like you leave those games after week 1 and after week 4 saying, wow, the Jets are not the same old team.
Oh, man, I don't know. They said that Aaron Rodgers had a talk with all the teammates the night before and the day before the game. And I don't know what he may have whispered into Zach Wilson's ear, but everybody, get together, put some money together. We got to get Aaron Rodgers to the freaking Denver Broncos Stadium and be there again for his mentor, his under apprentice. Yo, Ryan, look, this is my mindset. I was upset with Zach, and I was very disappointed with how the gameplay had been going. But we've got to show this kid that just like his teammates in that game, we've got to rally behind Zach and show him that we support him too, so long as he takes responsibility. He took responsibility, and I love my favorite part about, even though we lost that game, my favorite part of that ending was seeing Zach Wilson on his knees, knowing he made a mistake, but his team was behind him throughout that entire situation. Like, his team was surrounding him, saying, "Hey, bro, it's not on you. It's not, it happens. It sucks, but you did a great job today." And, props to Robert Sala for sticking to Zach. A lot of us are like, yo, he's babying him stuff. But what do? A lot of coaches would just go ahead and throw their quarterback right under the bus, too. But this guy, he shows that he's a player's coach. He's not going to just throw any player out from under him. And I'm glad that there was a side talk. I don't know. Here, let me ask you this, Ryan. If you were a player, or you were right there next to Zach after the way that game went down, what are your words of encouragement to him? Or what do you say to this guy after playing that way?
I would say the same thing that Patrick Mahomes said to him at the end of the game. And I don't know if you caught this, but he said, play like that the rest of the year. Like, if you play like how you played last night, the Jets are going to win a lot of games. And look, you lost that game last night. That's what it wound up being. He fumbled the ball. We didn't get the opportunity to go down and score some points. It sucks. There were other plays out there that were reasons why the Jets also lost. Obviously, in this field goal, Zach overthrowing Garrett Wilson in the end zone, the low pass to Conklin that he couldn't reel in. That was also kind of like an off pass. Mosley dropping the interception. There was a lot of things that could have gone the Jets' way. And my encouraging thing is that I have hope the rest of the year, because prior to last night, I thought we were dead in the water every single game, and I was just waiting for Trevor Siemian to come in. And look, it may still wind up that way. Who knows? Maybe Zach turns into a pumpkin this week, and he's not the quarterback that we were hoping he was going to be moving forward. But at the very least, I have hope for a little bit more this season, because you can get that type of performance from Zach against one of the best teams in the NFL. Heck, he's done it against 2 of the top quarterbacks in Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. So I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly.
Chris, give me one more JETS before I jet you out of here.
Jets, 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 Jets.
I love it, Chris. Thank you so much for the call. I've got Steven, then Jake, then Mo on the line. I want to jump over to Jonathan real quick. Do you believe the NFL has an offensive line problem? I noticed with most games I've watched, quarterbacks don't have enough time in the pocket. Now, we've been saying this for a little bit of time now, probably since 2012 or so on the better part of a decade. When the NFL Players Association and the NFL agreed to the collective bargaining agreement that happened around that time, and forgive me, I don't remember the year exactly, they cut back the amount of practice time that there was, or I don't know if two-a-days were also in that particular CBA, but the amount of time that offensive linemen spend together hitting in practice is drastically less now. And since then, there is a plummeting of offensive linemen and skill, the way they block in the NFL. And then my understanding is the way they block in college is a little different. So I don't know all the nuances that way, but I do think that if the NFL can do something to generate better offensive line play without it having to be a bunch of holding penalties, I think that's better for the whole NFL, because one, you're going to get more running back, yards and the fantasy points and everything. The quarterback's going to be protected, which means you're protecting your most prized possession. There's 32 of these guys in the NFL, 32 guys in the world. You want to be able to keep all your starting quarterbacks upright. So do I think the NFL has an offensive line problem? I do, but I don't think it's as easy of a fix because of the way they've structured practice time and everything along those lines. So I don't know the right answer. I've been saying, as far as like a holding penalty goes, I'd love to see offensive linemen in oven mitts or boxing gloves so they can't grab hold of the jersey. Now, again, for the same reason that I just brought up, you want to protect the quarterback. They'll never allow that to happen because you have to be able to hold on to a guy when you fuck up. Just my thinking. Let's jump over to Steven. Steven, welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, Ryan. First time, long time. I've been watching you for a pretty long time, and I really enjoy your show, and I appreciate everything you do as a Jet fan.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I'm here from Florida, so I take a lot of abuse from the Dolphins fans down here. As
Oof,
a Jet
whereabouts
fan,
in Florida are you from?
Something. My Jets, just every single week, why do we have to have an uphill battle? Now, going down 17-0 to the Super Bowl champion, Mahomes, the Chiefs, it's an uphill battle. Every single week, it's an uphill battle with this team, and it drives me crazy. I watch them every single week, and I can't believe how much of an uphill battle us Jet fans have to endure every single week. Yes, Zach played good. Finally, after 3 years, Zach played good. But is it going to be a consistent of what he's going to play every single week? That's the biggest question for all us Jet fans. Okay. I want to see this kid succeed. I know he's young. I know he has a lot of talent, but the plays, it just drives you crazy as a Jet fan. And the NFL, the NFL has to figure out why these refs are against the Jets every single week. We never.
Dude, 640 games or 640 days since our last roughing the passer call in favor of us? It's insane. That's a statistical anomaly.
Just cannot happen. What are we doing wrong here? What are we doing wrong as a team? Why are we not getting the calls? We get the bullshit calls. And any team that plays the Kansas City Chiefs this year has to look at that and say, holy cow, they're going to win the Super Bowl again because Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and they're going to give these guys the calls. Come on, Sauce did not do anything wrong. That flag was thrown so late, and we got a shitty call. That call should have been an interception, and we should have had a chance to win the game. Just the chance to win the football game. That's all I'm asking for. Every single week, it's like an uphill battle with us. And then we cannot, and Salah's Salah. I mean, I don't know if he's the coach. I don't know if he's going to be the coach long term. I don't even think he's going to get us to the promised land. I really don't. I feel like he's more of a fan of a coach. Like you watch him on the sideline, he gets mad and he gets happy, he gets mad. I want to see him coach. I want to see him be in the faces of these guys and coach. Be a leader out there. If you did something mess up with Bill Parcells, what would happen? He's
Oh yeah,
scared.
chew your ass out. I
He
remember
chew your ass
Keyshawn, or
out.
no, was it
What's wrong with
Keyshawn?
Salah chewing these guys out, man?
Oh
And
yeah,
that's your
it's a
Johnson call. That's another one that just drives me crazy. There's no
dude,
quarterback in the league that can have so much time to throw the ball, and we get crapped on every single week, and it drives me crazy.
Steve. I love you. I share the pain, brother. Hang in there. We're gonna turn it around. It's gonna happen. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we got our boy Jake on the line. Jake, how you doing tonight, brother?
Dude, what are you, your inner Jimmy Buffett? I look at that shirt you're wearing right now.
Right? I threw it on. I was like, you know what? I should probably throw a Jet jersey on. I was like, you know what? I got all the Jet stuff over here. I'm channeling my inner Jimmy Buffett. I'm feeling a little Margaritaville right now.
Yeah, cheeseburger in paradise, man. I actually knew I met him years ago, and I was at his house one time. He's actually a big, big house and a really nice guy.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I want to hear from you. I know you've been one of the more critical Jet fans that we've had on the show consistently. So what were your takes of the loss yesterday? A lot of fans trying to spin it as a moral victory. What were your overall feelings?
Where was this for a very long time? Where was this? Why now? Like, why? I walked away from last night's game more confused ever as a fan than I've ever been in my life. Like, I just don't. What am I'll be honest with you. All I could think about was, are they going to do it's going to be it's a trap game next week, and we're going to lose to, a team like Denver that we should win. But let's face it, dude, how many years have we watched this team and they lose those games? 9 out of 10 times. So, maybe I haven't said this. I mean, to me, Zach Wilson right now is Ryan Leaf Jr. until otherwise. So Ryan Leaf Jr. better show up next week and do this again. And he better do it again the next week and the next week and the next week and the next week. Because honestly, like, it's whatever. He played a good game, great, whatever. I didn't need to see like LeBron James talk about him today and the Micah part. I'm like, guys, like, listen, every Jet fan will tell you that there was a 99% chance that was not going to be the performance you were watching last night at all.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, he played. Also, let's also clear some other things. Patty is Tom Brady status. We're not getting the calls. It didn't shock me all. The only penalty that really shocked me last night is that Jermaine Johnson gets punched in the face, and yet he's the one who gets penalized. That just absolutely infuriated me. But
that
Patty's
was real frustrating. He was the second one. That's why.
Yeah, no, it just, I was like, okay, this is clearly where it's going to go tonight. So purely like Patty's going to get Brady calls. Let's just stop complaining about it. It's going to happen. Listen, we shut down Allen and Patty this year. We did. We shut them both down. The defense has done its job. Why Bryce Hall does not play every down, I still don't get this anymore. I don't know why people don't understand. He's the best pass rusher on this team. Yes, I will say it. Bryce Hall is the best pass rusher on the New York Jets. He's better than Lawson, John Franklin Myers, Will McDonald, everybody. That guy I want on the field all the time. So the reality here is what do they do next week? They need to go into that game. They need to wallop. I'm not talking like if I watch 50% of what I saw this past Sunday, that is unacceptable. They need to go into Denver and complete annihilation. I want annihilation. If you're going to hype up Zach Wilson and make him the next messiah after one game, because it was the first complete game he played all season, maybe 3/4 of a game, I will be livid because I'm not going to walk into next week and say, yeah, it's 17-10 at halftime. Maybe the Jets will hold on to this lead, and meaning we're winning. I'm like, no, I want to annihilate them. Okay, if the Miami Dolphins can annihilate the Denver Broncos, because let's face it also, guys, yesterday, Miami Dolphins, we can talk about Tua and all that. Their defense is not very good. Vic Fangio's dominant defense looks like a bust right now. So, and Mac's not good. And, Josh Allen was screwed up in the playoffs. So, do the Jets have opportunity? I don't know. They got to win the next 2 weeks. They got to end the curse against Philadelphia. Will that happen? I have no idea. Just at least it gets interesting the next 2 weeks. Let's see, because if Ryan Leaf Jr. stinks next week, this game's going to be pointless to me. Sorry. So
that's what I was going to say. So how long is your leash for Zach Wilson right now? Is it just 1 week?
It's week to week, man. This is week to week. He has done nothing in his career besides maybe yesterday's game to at least let this go to another week. Okay. Like, we need to watch this again. And I want to watch high level quality play because if the offensive line has shown you they're getting it done, they are. As much as I listen, I yelled at Fatty Magoo Becton last night. I think he played not particularly as good as everyone thought. I thought he did. I didn't think he was great. So they really need to keep the offensive line the way they're going. Keith Carter's done a very good job. You know, Dowling, whatever his name is, Todd Dowling, like, you know, the guy's lucky he has a job after being in, you know, in a drunk driving thing, but let's not talk about that. The reality is that the offensive line's getting it done. You're seeing guys like Lazard. Where is Mecole Hardman? I'm sorry. Where is Mecole Hardman? Where is he?
Boom, Jake. We got to see Mecole on the field yesterday. It's one of the positives, right? Saw Mecole, saw Gibson, saw everyone. Feeling a little bit better. I will say that. Hopefully, like you said, we see a little more consistency from our boy Zach Wilson, or Ryan Leaf, as you so donned his name. Want to see more. Mo, welcome to the cockpit. Mo, can you hear me? Mo, going once. Gotta go to Mo's. Gotta go to Modell's. Ah,
Hey, can
what's
you hear
up,
me?
Mo? I can hear you loud and clear.
Yo.
Yo, can you hear me? All right, ejected. Call back. I'll get to you. Let's move to Joe. Joe, how you doing tonight, brother? Glad to have you again.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable than where we were just last week.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Just to touch on your last caller, you know, he's the type of guy, to be honest, he's got some good points. Now, all his points, you know, were wrong, but he's the type of guy that even if Zach went to the Super Bowl and won, had a great season. Statistically, went to the Super Bowl and won. Next year, maybe he doesn't put up the same numbers and don't get to the Super Bowl. He'll say the same thing, you know, we have to get rid of Zach. You know, you're
I
as good
don't
as the
think so.
next day with
I
that
won't
guy.
put those types of words in Jake's mouth. Jake just wants to see consistent play. He's been pretty rock solid on that. And he gave Zach his credit this week, but he wants to see it again. How confident are you in this, Joe, to see him perform again next week?
I think he can do it next week again. But I have to agree with the last caller, Jake, that, you know, you have to take it day by day. But I do see potential in him, as I always did. You know, the kid's got a lot of ability. The only thing he lacked is reading defensive patterns. You know, knowing what they're throwing at him and knowing where also his receivers are or his tight ends are. You know, that's the thing that, you know, basically what makes a good quarterback, a great quarterback. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't know how to read the offensive, you know, the defensive patterns that they're throwing at you, as well as understand where your receivers are going to be, then you'll never be a great quarterback, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Look, it feels like it's starting to click, at least for one game. And I feel like if you can get Zach into a similar rhythm, have a lot of that motion, kind of, I don't want to say dumb it down, but just have the playbook that the friggin' Dolphins are looking at, like, hey, 1-1,000, 2-1,000, ball is out. If the ball's not out at 2-1,000, take off and run. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, don't go running around. Don't try to, like, wait to see if guys will break open later down the field. Now you're running 20 yards backwards. I just want to see Zach make the decisive move at that point.
Right. What I saw was basically, listen, the bottom line is this. He has a long way to go to prove himself. But I see maturity and I see growth. And that's going in the right direction. And that's all you can ask for. Hopefully he doesn't stick it up next week. But if he does continue this path, Robert Sala's right. He's going to win a lot of games. But does that, you know, correlate with getting to the playoffs? We shall see.
Fingers crossed, Joe. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we see a little bit more from Zach Wilson, or consistently seeing it from him this week against Denver. Thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, I'm going to try going back to Mo, see how Mo's doing this time. Mo, can you hear me?
Hey, what's up?
I'm hanging in there. How you feeling about yesterday's game?
Uh, I don't know. Not to. I mean, it's a loss, right? But
Sure. No
it's
moral
it's
victories for
definitely.
you?
I mean, I'm all for it. Look, man, I'm a New York's fan because I follow Knicks, Jets, Yanks. It's been pretty dark a couple of years,
I would say
but
so.
I'm used to that. Like, I don't really want to touch on the refs thing, man. I'm used to that type
Mhm.
of just complaining about things like that. It's kind of like boring at this point. Like, nothing's gonna change, right? But
Mhm.
I just find it, look, a couple of things I want to make clear here. Not really a Zach fan, right?
Okay.
Not like I have anything against him. I'm not over here screaming he sucks. Um, and I also went to the New England game, so I'm coming
Mhm.
off of like that type of. I
Got a
went
bad
to.
taste in your mouth.
Yeah. So, but I just find it amazing how this community. I follow you. I'm a big fan of you. A lot of other guys in this community, and you guys always know exactly what to do as far as
I
making
can't.
comments, like Rucker and
Mhm.
AVT on the right side. I
Mhm.
mean, I could go off and off and on,
It's
but
nice when it
it's
works out in our
amazing.
favor. I mean, I was also in favor of Le'Veon Bell and Dalvin Cook, and I'm broken clock, right? Twice a day.
Yeah, but yeah, I get funny you say that, but I mean, like some things are obvious, like Brees, and I feel like this is the game that kind of they listen. Not no one listens to the community, but they just
Mhm.
what most of us are saying, and then
Mhm.
boom, it happens, right? Uh, a lot of people say go down swinging to Zach, and the guy is slinging it, and then finally, oh my God, everybody's like change. Everybody sounds like a hypocrite now.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's like it's more on my comment is more on the quarterback development of
Mhm.
the Jets organization. Like, I kind of have like this over this idea that we just are not good at it.
Mhm.
We're like, let's point the finger at this kid, but also, like, what do we do? What have we done consistently to grow some of these guys? I mean, Pat
Mhm.
Mahomes at least sat behind a dude. Brady and all these other guys that you could probably think of sat behind a vet, and now this kid kind of was like thrown right into like the lions then from the day one. Like, get out there and fix this.
Yeah, and for
LaFleur.
for a lot of our last few quarterbacks, Sam did the same thing. His first throw was a pick six. Geno Smith started right away. Mark Sanchez started right away. We haven't really seen the sit back and watch mentality, and I think that's where a lot of New York quarterbacks wind up going wrong. Is because we anoint these young kids, 21-year-old kids, to be the savior of this snake bitten franchise, and then they get the high lofty draft status. They get the keys to New York even before they've done anything at all. I think New York is such a pressure cooker, and the media is so different here compared to a lot of other outlets around the league, that it would benefit us if a quarterback sits behind Rodgers for a little bit. So like this draft, if Zach looks good, I'm probably not taking one early, but I still want to take a quarterback to, at the very least, push Zach a little bit, have that backup quarterback in the hopper on a cheap rookie contract, and then maybe you see what happens from there. But I am very much looking forward to seeing what we can get out of Zach Wilson the rest of the way out here. I have a lot more faith in him now than I did prior to this game. Mo, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Blitz Crew cops in. He says, milk thumbs, people. We've got over 200 people in here. Only got 104 likes. If you're enjoying the show and you want to help out the channel just a little bit, doesn't cost you a dime. Hit that like button. All right, let's hop over to our next caller. This is Milky joining the show. Milky, how you doing tonight?
Nothing much, just chilling. Well, the Jets, well, they deserve to lose. I'm sorry, but I'm a Dolphins fan.
That's all right. I want to hear your take as
But
well. You guys got thumped by the Bills. How you
um,
feeling after that 70 burger?
hated it. Absolutely hated it. Come at 4-0, but look what happens. 3
Oh,
and
yeah.
1 on the year. But hey, we're still better than every single person in our division. I think we're tied with the Bills, but it's still
Well, didn't
fine.
the Jets
We're
beat the
gonna make the
Bills and the Bills
playoffs.
beat you guys? So, like, ipso facto, aren't we better than the Dolphins? Maybe?
No, 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 no.
It'll be
Okay, I'll
interesting
give
to see
y'all
if you.
playoffs. I'll
Go
give
on.
y'all a
Sorry.
wild card. How about that? I'll give y'all a wild card.
I'd be fine with a wild card. We haven't had the playoffs in 12 years. So I think at this point, sitting back with your quarterback being Zach Wilson and what we've seen the last 2 years, Jet fans were not overly optimistic. I mean, heck, we were talking about bottoming out and having a top 5 draft pick just 1 week ago. So we're a fickle bunch for sure. What now? Did you watch the full game yesterday for Jets Chiefs?
Yes, I know the Jets should have won that game. I mean, I'm just saying, as a Dolphin fan, the referees really did check it up. Mahomes threw 2 interceptions and didn't do nothing the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
It should have
Yeah,
been y'all's win.
dude, the Jets had opportunities, and that's where I get a little frustration with some of the posts I see online is they're blaming the refs. Oh, the refs took that game from the Jets. And yeah, I get it, but there were other opportunities there for the Jets. We missed a field goal. We had Garrett Wilson open in the end zone. We missed that throw. Conklin had the 2 hands on the ball. Granted, it was a tough catch to try and make. He drops one in the end zone. CJ Mosley drops an interception. There were opportunities for the Jets to win that game and prevent it from being put into the hands of the referees. So I'm a big fan of where
Yeah.
this team could potentially be headed, and I'm just hoping we get to see a little bit more from Zach. What were your thoughts on Zach overall as a division rival? What were you thinking?
I ain't scared of it. The person I was really scared of was Aaron Rodgers. When we all signed Aaron Rodgers, I was like, "Yep, we're definitely gonna be third or second."
Sure, yeah, no, of course. I
Definitely.
mean, I think Jet
I
fans
have.
were feeling pretty confident with Rodgers at the helm. But seeing Zach play the way he played against that team last night, it's got to give at least some level of confidence to the fans and maybe a little bit of concern to division rivals, possibly. Or you think he turns back into a pumpkin?
A little bit concerned to the division rivals. I mean, the only team I ain't worried about the Bills. The only team I'm worried about in the division is the Patriots.
You're worried about the Patriots?
Because Bill Belichick is going to find a way to cheat either way.
Boom! Sorry, Milky.
You're out of here.
That's what the division rival gets. That's all right. Division rivals are allowed to call too. I enjoy the conversation. We've got Captain Savage joining the show. Captain, how you doing tonight?
Ryan, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Long time no talk to. How you been? How's the family?
Dude.
Congrats on the new baby.
Thank you. Family's doing well. Kids are sleeping right now. All is well in the household, and I'm feeling a little more confident about our New York Jets after yesterday's, loss.
Absolutely, the kid, he showed us something, man. I mean, going through the last few weeks that he went through, getting killed by us as a community and media and all talk radio and everything and all other news outlets, but he showed me something. He showed me some backbone, some grit, some fight. And he's being a little too hard on himself, saying that he lost the game and everybody consoling him on sideline, Conklin, Lazard. But this kid showed us something. And true Jet fans, they really see because of the way he's been playing in the past, and not to have this game against the champs from last year, it showed me a whole lot.
Dude, there was resiliency, which is nice. In the past, we've had quarterbacks that have crumbled under pressure. And for the most part, Zach has crumbled under that pressure. But through 2 primetime games, one coming in a very difficult situation, losing Aaron Rodgers for the season, he has to come in and get a win over division rival Buffalo Bills. Then you go up toe-to-toe with the Super Bowl champs. And he outduels Patrick Mahomes. This is the first time that a quarterback did what Zach did to Patrick Mahomes. All through college, all through the pros, his entire career, no one has done what Zach Wilson did yesterday.
Absolutely. And I appreciate, the guts he showed. I think, the meeting with Rodgers before the game kind of settled everybody down. I think the Pat McAfee interview, him talking to the team through the interview, we got to calm down. We got each other's backs. We got to manifest all this other stuff. I really think once he spoke to the team on Sunday night, I think he really calmed everybody down. Stick with each other, keep fighting, keep scratching and clawing, and we're going to get out of this. One thing I agree with you on one of your videos that you posted this week or last week or this weekend was the Dalvin Cook experiment. I'm totally over it. You know, this guy's missing holes. He's not the guy from Minnesota. I don't know what's going on with him, but it's not working. Put the young guys back in. Give Michael Carter some touches. Put Izzy back in. Brooklyn represent. You know, so let's go. You know, that whole Cook thing, I'm done. And I'm sorry to say it, but I'm done watching this.
Dude, it sucks because I was at least hoping to get running back 2 vibes, and right now I'm not loving it. And God forbid something happens to Brees. I thought we would have a fallback in Dalvin, and it just does not feel that way. And Brees feels like our entire running game. Even though, look, I want to see Izzy, I want to see Carter, and all that stuff. But man, I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse right now with Dalvin Cook.
Absolutely agree, 100%. You know, let's stay with it. Let's back our guys. We're gonna get out of this rut. Just believe. We got Denver next week. Let's go. Let's get this dub.
Let's do it. Captain Savage, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we got our boy Lima Bean tuning in. Lima Bean, how you doing tonight?
Good. I've been listening to the whole thing for a while. Decided to call in while working and all. But
sure.
I mean, we already been through the refs a billion times. There's nothing much to say though. Shady as hell. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it kind of lends more credence to everything people say about the scripts and this and that. But
right, it feels weird. Like there's enough there that conspiracy theorists are going to love what happened today to be able to use it as proof.
Like if it's a hold, why did they wait so long to throw it? Like he saw the interception. He's like, nope, can't have that. Like that's what it felt like.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, it definitely. It's like, oh wait, hold on. Patty Cakes threw an interception. That can't be right. No. Yeah. T Swift's got to get this game.
Like, meanwhile, we can't get like a roughing the passer call to like save anybody. Like, but the 4 plays we had of Rodgers, we had 2 penalties in our favor. That's how big the shift is. Like you get like a big name, things all of a sudden like that benefit of the doubt calls. Like someone looks at you the wrong way, they're like, no, we can't have that.
Yeah, right. It would have been nice to have that. Now that I feel like we have Zach back there, they're like, Jets don't need a roughing the passer call till next year when Rodgers comes back. This kid hasn't earned those calls yet.
Right. As for Zach, like obviously, like we don't know if he's the answer or anything like that. I'm not saying he is, or I'm still hoping for Rodgers to come back, hopefully next year and all that stuff. But I have to give him props, like for more about the fact that he was dragged under the mud by everybody, like every media outlet, every YouTube commentator, every meme like creator, like that. That's a lot of adversity to go through, So it's more about that impressed me more so than just the performance itself as a whole. And I just hope for the offense, we got to stop with the running plays a lot. Like the running has to come through the pass. Like a lot of the problems is that we're always in 3rd and long and they tee off on them. Like, you know what? Keep play action. Keep throwing the ball. Like this is the modern NFL. Like this is the reason why the Chicago Bears sucked for so long is because they haven't adapted past 1985. We don't want to be them, let Zach throw and just say, screw it. Like, let's do what he got to do. And yeah, we got to get off the veterans too much. I understand they're trying to get them going. And most coaches, it's not just Saleh, but most coaches try to push them off the edge. But one quick story. I thought I would bring up Colin Cowherd because I don't agree with a lot of the things he says. And I don't usually watch him. But I saw his YouTube show just to get a glimpse of it while I was busy. And he actually made a comment saying that there's a reason why they kept Zach around because you could see the talent in his arm. And then he makes a joke about Mac Jones saying that Mac Jones looks talentless that gets carried. And I was like, yeah, that is the case. That's why Mac Jones keeps throwing screens and slants. That's all he can do, So, but no, just let's keep this going. I just hope for the best. I just hope that Zach does well. That's all.
Dude, me too, Lima Bean. I completely agree. And I like where you're going with that too. I like how he says Mac Jones looks talentless, while Zach Wilson, there's a reason they're holding on to him. And it's evident. There's just certain throws that he makes, and you're like, how'd you do that? Or he has that one drive that goes 75 yards and scores a touchdown, as every other drive ends in 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. So you're left scratching your head, and you're like, how did you just do that? But then put all that other shit on tape and have us losing our goddamn mind. Zach is one of the most frustrating quarterbacks I've ever watched. I have never seen someone with so much God-given talent and such a desire to try and learn and lead and everything. Like he's a good kid. It just, for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to put it together. And now we got to see one game. There's a sample size of one. Let's see if he could do this against Denver. He had his back against the wall. Play this week like it might be your last start. Because you got to prove to the whole team on a consistent basis that you can do this week in and week out. Joe, you're an Atlanta Jets fan coming in. What's up, Joe? How you doing tonight?
I freaking told you. I told you.
I saw you tagged me in a tweet too. I was like, you were right.
I told you. Just a matter of time. I think this game was different. I think Nathaniel Hackett, I think he actually brought the rest of his playbook and not that one sheet of paper. He's been
right? It felt like they finally opened up the offense. They're using some of these speedy guys we got, like Ruckert and Gibson and Hardman.
Yeah, he haven't. But the crazy thing, they haven't used Hardman. They used Gibson the way they should have used Hardman, and that's kind of I have a question for it. Like that's like a little concern. But however, it's just week 3, 4. Like,
yeah, I don't know if it's like a doghouse thing. Like, is Hardman in that doghouse right now, or do they think that Gibson maybe earned those reps and Hardman hasn't? It's weird. The way they've utilized Hardman so far this season has been really frustrating.
Yeah, it's been frustrating. I was like, maybe they trying to, save him until the middle of the season, then open up that part of the playbook. Like, they seem like they're moving. Like, they open up the playbook slowly but surely. But last night, I think they had to open up that playbook or it was their job. Like, that's exactly how it was played. And Zach Wilson played lights out. Even though he had to fumble, I'll take this version of Zach Wilson any given day. Like, when you open up the playbook, call the plays. We call plenty of rollouts for him. We called so many plays that, and then on top of that, I had 2 unsung heroes. Michael Carter, when they had him be the extra blocker, and they like hold him for like a couple more seconds, so that was can make the throws. And Jeremy Ruckert looked amazing. Like, sheesh.
Dude, I love seeing the hometown kid like ball out. Some of the catches he's made or the blocks he's thrown, he deserves more playing time.
Yeah, definitely. And the Russian defense wasn't all that great. That's the only thing. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
like,
it definitely felt like the Jets defense said, hey, look, we're going to lose by way of running game, not because Patrick Mahomes is going to dominate us. And honestly, that's probably the way I'd want it to kind of be, because I would trust the Jets defense to kind of hold it. I did not see 150 yards coming from Pacheco. That was the dagger.
Yeah, I didn't see that at all. I like to see when they had Austin Davis out there as a linebacker. I'm like, they're getting all type of different looks out there, and he came in clutch for us with the interception. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is good on both ends, defensive, offensive. They both opened up the playbook and decided to use everything they had.
Dude, if we see Zach play the way he did yesterday, we are going to get into the playoffs. It is going to be a wild ride if Zach continues to play the way he played last night.
Definitely. This is the Zach Wilson I've been bragging about. This is the guy.
Dude, from your lips to his ears, and hopefully it continues. Joe, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Some good calls tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed this. So, boys and girls, I've had a lot of fun hanging out with you here tonight. I feel like I've gotten a good pulse on where this fan base is currently sitting when it comes to our New York Jets. And just how, love how I still have the thumbnail up from earlier, I feel so much more confident or comfortable or at least hopeful, optimistic even, looking forward to the rest of the season because of the way the Jets played the Bills and the Jets played the Chiefs. And particularly because of how Zach played. I was thinking we are seeing the same show as we saw last year. Zach Wilson's going to stink it up. We're going to have all the locker room's going to split, divide right down the middle. We're going to be frustrated. We're going to be making excuses all season. There's no money to go get the quarterback to try and update anything. I was very, very pleased with what happened last night, even in a loss. And I understand moral victories and all that jazz. But this one felt good if you were a Jet fan, given the opponent we went up against and how our guy looked, even with all the plays we left out there. It's not like the Jets played a perfectly 110% clean game and just lost. The Jets dominated. They absolutely dominated that game and should have won by far more than the final score indicated. Now you wish that the penalties didn't come into play and you weren't in that position towards the end of the game. But man, I have to say I am very proud of where this team is after just 1 week ago. I thought we were imploding. So boys and girls, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below, how do you feel about the Jets moving forward? How long of a leash do you want to give Zach Wilson? Is it just one game? Is it to the bye week? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.